Leeds United have played against Sunderland in the Premier League, and whilst we came away with a point, and at the start of the season we might be having a look at that point and going, that's maybe not enough. Sunderland have been doing well this season, and to be honest, this is a result that we very much needed to keep the unbeaten run going. So please, 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 if we can keep that going, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Wonderful. But I'm going to take a little bit of a deep dive into the Leeds versus Sunderland match, have a little bit of a conversation on the lineups and the tactics surrounding all of that, what happened with Joe Rodon and the expected timeline for his return, some of the sort of performances of various areas of the pitch, because there's a couple of players that I very much want to bring up, including the midfield. We want to talk a little bit about that goal, how other clubs are looking at Leeds United at the moment, and ultimately what the general direction of the side is at the minute. And we need to start with what the lineup was. And we lined up in exactly the same way as we did in the last match, which honestly I didn't mind too much. I think the lineup last time out was absolutely fine, gave us plenty of versatility, and it was sort of perfect in my opinion, and it dealt with Sunderland absolutely perfectly as well. The issue is we needed to make adjustments relatively quickly after the Joe Rodon injury, and after we made that sort of adjustment, I think everything was sort of spot on. Took off Joe Rodon in order to bring on Outanaka. Now, a lot of people looked at that and went, okay, so I guess we're stuck at playing four at the back now. But that wasn't the case because Ampadu can always slot in, you become three at the back again, and we have a little bit of tactical flexibility without having to make any further substitutions, which, in my opinion, absolutely fantastic. From a tactical point of view, we knew that Sunderland would try and press us, we knew that they would try and play against us fairly actively, and we sort of matched that. We played fairly quickly in response because you know that if a team is pressing you, there's going to be space somewhere. And if you can use your energy and you can use your oomph and you can get a little bit of an output out of using that space, you're going to do quite well. And I think that's what happened in this match. On the Joe Rodon thing, I'm going to cover that off relatively ASAP. The issue with him was he took a first initial impact, which was a sort of a player landed on his ankle, which is never good, but then he took a second impact, which was against a planted foot, like this. Opponent comes in, ankle twists, bad, big problems, not great. As far as Daniel Farke has said, it is pretty swollen and awaiting more scans, but it's looking like he's not likely to be back until after the Derby match. So that rules out Liverpool, that rules out Manchester United. I don't know if that rules anything else out. Might be Newcastle, I guess. But it's a good few games, and that's not great because we know that we've had Joe Rodon starting for over 100 matches in a row now. And I personally believe that having Joe Rodon available is an absolute must. It'd be a hell of a view to have him back, but I don't know if we're realistically going to get that. Now, I'm going to do the sort of bit by bit of the pitch because I think there's a couple of very interesting things to talk about here. The first of which is the front line, because I think the defence just did its job. There was one issue that we had, but that I think was the issue with Joe Rodon not quite getting up to be in line with the offside trap, which was unfortunate. But he can't help that. He's injured. We'll leave the defence there because I think he did pretty damn well outside of that. Beyond that, I'm going to start with the front line because the front line was incredible, and I'm going to start with the more disappointing of the three options in the front line, and I don't like starting with disappointing things, but sometimes you have to, and that would be Noah Okafor. Because this is a quick heat map that is only showing the touches for Aaronson, for Okafor, and for Calvert-Lewin, and for me, the fact that there is almost nothing out on that left-hand side is not great, because in this sort of area of the pitch, this is where we expect to see Brendan Aaronson, but Brendan Aaronson also cuts inside, and when he does that, absolutely delicious. We love to see it, and Calvert-Lewin stays relatively central. So where's the left wing? I think this was another match where Noah Okafor relatively struggled, and I would absolutely love to see that not happen again, but it's going to happen from time to time, especially when he's potentially playing as a striker. A little bit of a tricky one. Ultimately, going forward, I think he needs to get a little bit more involved, but we'll see how that one goes. Now, the players that I think did especially well, I'm going to start with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I'm going to specifically, I've pulled up who scored here because they have very, very good pass maps, including this one. If I can click it. There we go. This is Dominic Calvert-Lewin's pass map for the game. And he played 14 passes in this game, which you might think 90-minute game of football, that's not tons, but then again, he's a striker, and you compare him to Brobby on the other side, who had 6, and they were just all over the shop. There was no consistency in the way that Robbie was able to play, which is good. And you have Meander in there as well. Wait, Isidore didn't get a single pass? That's hilarious. Meander, I don't think is a striker either, so I'm not going to include him. This is the comparison of passes between our strikers. I mean, I can chuck Metra in there if we want, but I think that's not really representative given the stage of the game that he came on. The good thing about Dominic Calvert-Lewin right now is he's more than happy to drop in and do that hold-up play and do that sort of building up from the back. And the fact that we're able to see that and he's able to do that very, very consistently is incredible. Absolutely love it. Including the sort of like little knockdowns for like an Anton Stack that he can just go and he can get in behind, and that is ultimately what we want to see out of Dominic Calvert-Lewin for the rest of the season. And he's always getting himself in those dangerous areas, he's always finishing off the chances that he gets, and I think he's going to keep on doing that for a hell of a long time. In addition to that, I'm just going to have a quick look at the shot map. Apparently only had one shot today, but it went in, and that's what counts. I'm more than happy with it. One of the things that an Everton fan said to me when we signed Dominic Calvert-Lewin was he's a really, really, really good striker when he's fit and you're able to get chances to him. He's not missed games with injury yet, which is one of the most important things with keeping Dominic Calvert-Lewin just fit and around and available and all that kind of stuff. But in addition to that, and this is crucial for me, we've been getting opportunities to him. And it's not only getting opportunities to him, we've been getting them to him in really, really, really good places. Because everyone has seen the shot map by now, the goal map specifically, and it's all within the net. It's all within sort of the width of the net and back to the penalty spot. And that sort of opportunity is the thing that he just slots away with ease, and it's incredible. And we are fixing the issue that Everton had, and I like it. And then we get to Brendan Aaronson, and Brendan Aaronson for me was just absolutely fantastic. He was unlucky not to score. That stop off the line from Trey Hume was just, it was ridiculous. The fact that he was allowed to do that, stupid. I think we should change the rules of football so he's not allowed to do that. But Aaronson was, again, all over the pitch, very, very good. I've got absolutely no complaints about the guy at this point. I know a lot of people do, but when you have a quick look at things like his passing, he's absolutely everywhere. He's playing out on the left flank as well, out on the right, in the 10 area. He's the creator that we need. And whilst a lot of people look at him and think, we need a bit more, I do agree, it would be nice to have a bit more. But he's showing us that he is a player that is reasonably well adapted to the Premier League. And it's going well for him, I'll be completely honest. In the midfield, because we need to talk about the midfield as well, I think Stack did ridiculously well. He was stepping up a lot, getting involved in those challenges, which we really, really needed to happen. Stack had a little bit of a lull when things weren't looking too good in the sort of 4-3-3, but he's very much picked it up now, playing very well alongside Ampadu, and the fact that Ampadu is playing alongside him means that putting together thoughts is a touch difficult, but means that Ampadu is also allowed to go a little bit forward, and Ampadu is allowed to have those shots, which, again, that shot that he found, like, powered on target was astounding. Big fan of it. Love it. But that pairing of Stack Ampadu is something that we cannot take for granted, because whilst it's on the pitch, it's doing really well. And Tanaka came on as an aside, and his energy was just huge. The game changed based on Tanaka coming on because he becomes a part of the press. When we are out of possession in that sort of 4-3-3, it's not really a 4-3-3, it's more of a 4-3-2-1, in which you've got your back four, obviously they're going to be defensive, and then you've got a bank of 3, but that bank of 3 is your 2 wingers and Ampadu, because the wingers have dropped in to support the fullbacks, and then your pressing unit is effectively Tanaka, Stack, Calvert-Lewin. And that works really, really nicely, and it means that we put a lot of pressure on opposing defences, and it's just good. We're good at winning the ball back, we're good at being aggressive, and I'm very, very happy. And when we're talking about things that we're good at, oh boy, we're going to have to talk a little bit about the goal. This goal, work of art. Every single Leeds United player touched the ball within a 27-second run of time. Biol to Ampadu to Tanaka to Bogle. That's 4 players within like no time at all. Back to Biol, Perry, and then the speed with which we push up here. Perry finds Pascal, cheeky little 1-2 off Gudmundsson. Ball forward to Okafor, who finds Stack. Stack, at this point, by the way, shouts at Ampadu to leave the ball because he's seen Brendan Aaronson making a run here. Aaronson does his thing, proves himself to be a star, picks up the ball, nice little dribble, puts it through for Calvert-Lewin, taps it in. Incredible move. I can't show you the move, just search it on Twitter, but I don't want to get shot in the face by the YouTube algorithm right now. But spectacular, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is genuinely one of the hottest players in the league right now. 7 goals, 6 games. No one can have a single complaint about the guy now. A lot of people, including me, I'll be honest, were a little bit doubtful when we signed him at the start of the season, but we are doing what we need to do to make sure that those doubts are sort of put away. Now, talking about the subs, this is going to be relatively quick. I think Mecha and Nonto did very little. They didn't have time to do much, but I think bringing them on was not ideal, and it potentially did a little bit of harm to the momentum of the match. I understand why we did it. The schedule at this time of year is rough, but it's something that we're going to have to deal with maybe a little bit better, to be honest with you. I think we need to work on those substitutions. I think if we have that attacking signing, that becomes a little bit simpler, but ultimately we'll see how that goes. Sorry, I just noticed a little bit of a stir to my left. But hopefully we get a nice quiet end of recording that isn't too distracting. But I did say we do a little bit on the direction of the club at the end, and that's why I mentioned the potential signing. Because I've had a look at the most recent fixtures, and that was a very, very tough away game. You don't go to the Stadium of Light and just waltz it. I don't think anyone has won at the Stadium of Light that isn't Sunderland yet this season. And I think in October we lose that. But the fact that we have a more versatile team, a more versatile sort of tactical lineup is changing things for us. And I think the fact that we're 7 points clear of the relegation zone after that run of fixtures is obscene. For a little bit of context, by the way, in the last 7 games that we've played, all of them have been in the top 9 in the league. And in 2 games' time, when we've played against Liverpool and against Manchester United, that will have been, in our last 9 matches, we'll have played teams that are in the top 9 in the league. That sort of run is ridiculously tough, and coming out of that with 9 points from those 7 is huge, and with 2 of those to go is even huger. And I think this is the kind of run that secures Daniel Farke's job, to be honest with you. A lot of people talked about this phase of the season and kind of said, we don't want the Jesse Marsh to happen, because if it turns out that Daniel Farke gets a result against Man City and then we're shit, then we might be stuck with Daniel Farke for a bit. I think the fact that it's come over a run of a lot of football matches means that we are reasonably healthy, and we can probably trust him for a good while now. I still think we need an attacker, but confidence right now is significantly higher than it was. And rather than just looking at the way that we are doing at the minute, I'm going to take a very, very, very quick look at how another club's fans are feeling, specifically a West Ham fan. It was Lloyd Dean who retweeted this one, so thank you, Lloyd, for bringing this to my attention. But this is the opinion of a West Ham fan who specifically says, watching Leeds today should be as alarming as watching us yesterday. They're everything we're not. Aggressive, attacking, passionate. You love to be aggressive, attacking, and passionate. They're absolutely levels ahead of us. Combine that with the fact that we're 7 points clear. Combine that with the fact that we've had a tough run of fixtures, and things will get easier because they have to, because we've played all the tough ones in one go. I'm feeling confident. And I think we're going to be looking good for the end of the season. But, as always, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. There we go. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe as always, that's massively appreciated. Or become a channel member where you get a bunch of videos early. It is basically the moment I record it, I don't edit. I just end recording, upload to YouTube. It's there. So you can have the videos effectively as soon as they're recorded. So, bosh. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you later. I like the aggressive, attacking, passionate line. It's really good. We should do that more often. I'm happy with football right now, you know. Ta-ra. Also, whoever spotted the sign up here but was like, it's replaced your pirated Stream of the Ashes. I work for a sports broadcaster, man. I don't need to pirate. I'm good. Anyway, toodaloo.